Coutinho scores. Sanchez scores.
Chelsea are champions.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Overend and thanks for downloading the Football Daily. Sunday's Five Live Sport came from St James's Park, where Newcastle recorded only their second home Premier League win of the season, beating in-form Liverpool by 2-0. Martin Skrtel deflected Georginio Wijnaldum's shot in for the first, and Wijnaldum added the second late on. Afterwards, I spoke to the former Newcastle coach, Steve Stone.
And there's the final whistle.
Yeah.
I haven't got a crystal ball, it just happens so often. And I certainly didn't have a proper crystal ball to forecast that Newcastle would beat Liverpool by 2-0 Steve.
No, I've got to be honest with you, when we got here today, we'd looked at Liverpool's superb, the last 4 games, 6-1 in the middle of the week, getting all the men back from injury into fitness. Newcastle going through some horrible times, conceding 8 in the last 2 games. But Newcastle showed some real spirit and togetherness out there today. Players working for each other, trying to put Liverpool players under pressure, not letting them have an easy time. And they deservedly won the game in the end by hitting Liverpool on the counter-attack on a couple of occasions.
Well, it's Steve McLaren, it's his moment, it's Newcastle's moment, but all credit to Jurgen Klopp, who immediately even on the pitch, shaking hands with members of both teams.
Well, I think he's got a bit of class about him. I think he's been a welcome addition to the Premier League. I think Jurgen Klopp's had a great start to his Liverpool career. But like any manager, he will be judged over the next coming months, and at the end of the season, where do Liverpool finish and how they actually improve.
Full time at St James's Park, Newcastle United 2, Liverpool 0.
And all around us here, Newcastle fans standing up, applauding the team off as I look to the Gallagate end to our right. Well, it's great to see such a healthy attendance at the end, isn't it, at this place? So often over the last few seasons we've seen a half-empty stand before the final whistle. Now, not only have they seen the final whistle, they're staying behind at the end to milk the celebrations. And for Newcastle United, well, that is a potentially season-turning result. 2-0, the win over Liverpool, up onto 13 points, above Sunderland, but still not out of the relegation zone yet. Level on the same number of points as Bournemouth and Norwich, as Alan was saying. The key thing there is that Aston Villa tonight are 6 points adrift at the bottom of the Premier League table. 0500 909 693, your calls to Kelly Cates and Ian Wright. Welcome as Steve McLaren leaves the pitch, almost the last man off, applauding to all sides. Well, what a difference, Steve Stone. You've played at some big stages and big venues in your career. It makes such a difference, doesn't it, when the crowd's on your side? As in fairness to the Newcastle faithful, they were today throughout.
Listen, them Newcastle players worked extremely hard right from the start. They realised they were going to go up against the top quality Liverpool side, who had won the last 4 games, scored 6 in midweek against a good Southampton side. And they came out and they delivered today, The crowd then sense that the players are up for it. Start then getting behind them, and you can sense the game starting to turn. You can sense, yes, Liverpool are a good side. They have a lot of the ball, but they weren't creating a lot of chances. You could sense they were having an off day. And Newcastle just grew in belief as the game went on. And so did the crowd. They sensed there was victory in there. A couple of obviously good goals by Wijnaldum. He's been some of their talisman. He scored 4 against Norwich at one stage. He's been a great addition. There was actually rumours that he might actually not play today. He might actually be left out the side. They put him in there and he's been rewarded with these 2 goals, and they fully deserve that. But I definitely think this Newcastle side is a better counter-attacking side than somebody that likes to press the ball, and it seemed to work today. Great energy, great performance.
In amongst the dismantling of Newcastle with Andy Townsend and Pat Nevin on the show on Friday night, I was struck by something Pat said when he said, they're good players. Essentially, yes, they're good players. A lot of them have cost a lot of money. And he said, there's a good team in there somewhere. And today, particularly second half, they showed it, didn't they?
Well, I'll tell you what they looked at, and you just mentioned it there. They looked a team today. And I think they've looked like individuals. I think the likes of Sissoko, when people have ran past him, he hasn't tracked his runners. Things like that have gone on far too often. And I'm not just blaming Sissoko. There's other people in the team. And that's happened far too often this season. And people have had their heads down. As soon as the first goal goes in against them, their heads have gone down and they haven't been able to respond. Today they got the first goal. They were nice and compact as a unit. Apart from Colaccini going on a few odds and sods runs out of his defence, they looked solid and compact. Anita was fantastic in front of that back 4, marshalled it really well.
And you could see Colaccini actually rising, couldn't you? He was rising on the wave of the crowd as they sensed victory might just happen in that second half. You could see Colaccini sort of rising for challenges and marshalling that defence. Last minute, they hold a really good line to catch Origi offside. It's that sort of thing that can be loose at this place now seems to have tightened up.
Well, it can be loose, and it has been loose when their defence has been playing high up the pitch. And we talked about before the game where the likes of Jan Matt and Dummett maybe he's getting a little bit too far forward at times, leaving space down the sides of Newcastle centre halves. The likes of Colaccini then getting pulled out into wide areas, or Anita or Colback having to cover the fullbacks, getting pulled out into wide areas, then making the team disjointed. Today that didn't happen so often. Yes, Jan Matt went forward at times, but Anita filled in really well at times, and Colback just slid across. That made the team look compact, and that allowed the fullbacks to go forward. And every time Newcastle lost the ball, they won it back pretty quickly because there was pressure on the ball, because they were compact as a team.
This is 5 Live Sport with Jonathan Overend.
And it's with Sissoko on the far side of the field. Sissoko just wants to keep possession here.
Yeah.
Sissoko's done well though. He's got past Moreno. There's a great run forward by Wijnaldum. This could be 2-0 in towards Wijnaldum, and it's over the goalkeeper, and it's 2-0 to Newcastle United. Wijnaldum's got both goals on a critical afternoon on Tyneside.
Well, there we go. Newcastle United beating Liverpool 2-0 here at the Premier League, in the Premier League. And, coming into this, Newcastle 1 win at home out of 7. Liverpool 1 defeat away from home out of 7. Form went out of the window today, Steve Stone, as Newcastle maybe, just maybe, got their season going.
Well, let's hope, because they looked a tighter, solid side today. They were tracking runners. They were working hard for each other. The basic things that you should do as a footballer, some of them have been missing over the last few weeks, especially when you concede 8 goals. They've got to be missing. They didn't look as if they were missing today. They looked really tight as a unit. The 2 central midfield players, and Colback and Anita, sat in front and did a great job. I thought De Jong did a really good job as well, and actually sitting in the 10 role, dropping into the back of Lucas and Allen and making things difficult, winning possession. The game was sloppy. I don't think Liverpool were at the best, but I also think that Newcastle made Liverpool poor at times. Yep, Liverpool gave away a few sloppy passes and the rest of it and could have done better on the day, but Newcastle actually worked that hard that they made Liverpool look ordinary today. They beat Southampton 6-1, who were a good side, Southampton in midweek, and they've made 6 changes today, and it actually looked as if they were a worse team, Liverpool, today than they were midweek.
First goal, incidentally, credited as a Martin Skirtle own goal. It was quite a major deflection, wasn't it? That takes him, incidentally, on to 7 Premier League own goals, Skirtle, which is level. I don't know why I'm laughing. Level with Jamie Carragher, only beaten by, in Premier League history, off the top of your head. No idea. Richard Dunn. A mighty 10 own goals for Dunny, but Skirtle up to 7. From a Liverpool point of view, Steve, just a final thought on them.
I think Liverpool, what I've seen over the last few weeks, are definitely going in the right direction. When you've got a new manager in there and you've been playing so well, it's obvious somewhere along the line you will have a blip, and they came up against a Newcastle side who obviously were committed today. Liverpool looked like they just had to turn up and win the game. They thought they had the better quality, and that'll always bite you in the backside. But going forward, I think Jurgen Klopp's going in the right direction. I can see they're pressing. I can see what they're trying to do. I thought they were a little bit direct at the end. I think they still should have been trying to be a little bit more patient and try and build.
Didn't do much, did he?
No, I tell you what, he didn't do much. But what he did do, he showed little flashes of quality that will be key to Liverpool's season as it goes on, if he can keep him fit.
It was a busy day in the FA Cup second round. Let's round up all of the action.
This is 5 Live Sport with Jonathan Overend.
FA Cup second round scores: Welling 0, Carlisle 5, Rochdale 0, Bury 1, Peterborough 2, Luton 0, Bradford 4, Chesham 0, Oxford 1, Forest Green 0, Cambridge 1, Doncaster 3, Colchester 3, Altrincham 2, winning in the last minute, Exeter 2, Port Vale 0, and Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Whitehawk 1. Let's hear from the Carlisle manager, Keith Curl, their 5-0 win at Welling. Of course, with all the devastation in Cumbria with the flooding this weekend, it's been difficult times for many people from the area. Let's hear from Keith Curl, starting with the game.
I think we scored goals at good times for ourselves. We kept a clean sheet in the first half, which I thought was important. We didn't want to give Welling any sense of that there might be something in the game for them. So no, a focused, professional performance from ourselves, and we know we score goals. We're building a reputation as a team that can score goals on the road and at home. So it's important that we did that, and we looked a threat. And I think the pleasing thing is when we make the substitutions, we looked to still have a threat.
And heading back, what are your thoughts as you head back to what you're going to experience when you get back home now?
Well, again, I think first and foremost, I think one of the things that Cumbria people build themselves on is a community spirit that's there. So we know that everything that can be done will be done, and I think it's important now that we as footballers and football staff travel back up and take our place as inside the football club as being the hub of the community. Again, there's lots of work to be done, and all we can do is we will help as and where we can do.
Nice home draw in the third round would do everybody a lot of good.
Again, just been speaking to the press here, we don't really mind because we see it as an opportunity and a challenge, and the change room there, we face challenges head on and we're not scared of anybody.
Trouble is that if you were at home, when are you next going to play football at Bronton Park if it's under 4 feet of water?
Again, I'll back my ground staff to get the pitch fit and ready.
Okay, that's Keith Curl, the Carlisle manager, with Rob Nothman. Heartbreak for Altrincham of the National League. They twice went ahead at Colchester. 30 seconds to go, though, and Colchester got the winner. Now, manager Lee Sinnott has previous in the competition. He was a losing finalist with Watford in the '84 Cup final.
Football can give, but it can also take away, quite cruelly, can't it? And, to find yourself, 30 seconds before we could take them, back up to Moss Lane for a replay, it gets snatched away. But that's what football's like, isn't it? It can be a cruel mistress at times.
How are the players feeling? Because you've been in their boat in a cup final. You lost a cup final with Watford, didn't you? So you can impart your experience on those young lads who today came so close to getting into the third round, which is such a big draw to be in.
Of course, yeah. I just said to them afterwards, there's not many words I can say at this stage, to ease the pain a little bit of not getting a positive result as if, to go back up to Moss Lane. But come later on, to a man I would have think that they should be proud of the performance. They've given everything, and that's what I asked of them before the game. It's just that football sometimes, gives and it takes away, and it's took away from us today, hasn't it? That we came so close, but just couldn't get that little 30 seconds out of the way.
Well, if non-league lost out with a last-minute goal there, it won with one at Dagenham and Redbridge. It's certainly got an equaliser for Whitehawk, but it will feel like a victory. 1-1 there. They're in the hat. The draw's 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Grimsby plays Shrewsbury tomorrow in the Cup as well.
The 5 Live Football Daily Podcast. All the day's football news sent direct to your computer. Podcast it now at bbc.co.uk/5live.
Don't forget you can watch all the weekend's FA Cup second round goals on the BBC website. Football returns to 5 Live on Monday. We have full commentary of the Premier League match between Everton and Crystal Palace, and during the build-up to that